So from his perspective, because obviously I'm the guy there who's been blown on his ass, I'm just trying to do the best I can to survive. He's watching the whole thing. So he replaced one of the lads who'd been killed. So he came into a really like strong knitted Royal Marine Commando group of guys. And he said to me that not just in that event, but in multiple things, he was looking at me like, Jesus, this guy's like flow state out. Like I'm at the front of the patrol. And he's come in, and his eyes must be like, he's come in to replace someone who's been killed. Like, he ain't come into a place that's nice or right or it's intense. And to him, he was looking at me thinking, Jesus, like, this guy's cruising it.
I'm Ollie Hall-Green, and I'm the founder and host of Shapes of Resilience. In this podcast, we explore the raw, unfiltered stories of those who refused to give up, turning adversity into strength, setbacks into lessons, and pain into purpose. Through these inspiring stories, we can learn and find resilience in our own lives every single day, because true growth isn't found in comfort. This podcast discusses sensitive topics including trauma, suicide, loss, mental health, and illnesses. Some conversations may be distressing, so please take care whilst listening. Welcome, brother.
Cheers, Ollie.
To the podcast. No, thank you so much for travelling down today. It means a lot to me when the thought of me waking up this morning thinking there's someone that's on their way to me now, like travelling half the country to come and spend a bit of time with me in my little garden room, out for a walk in my hometown.
Hey, we went for a swim.
Went for a walk and a swim. And I'm sorry to say you're not the first person that I've done that with.
Mate, I'm all about it.
But mate, it's been great. It's been great getting to know you today. And
pleasure.
Yeah, it's an absolute honour to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, so thanks, man. Appreciate you having us along.
So today I'm joined by Dan Holder. Dan served as a Royal Marine Commando. He was awarded the Bronze Star with Valor by the President of the United States. In Afghanistan, 2010, he led under relentless pressure and responsibility. But when that chapter closed, the battle didn't end. It just changed shape. Coming home meant facing PTSD, addiction, and the long rebuild. Alcohol became a way to cope until it became a trap. Dan replaced alcohol with purpose, mountains, ultra marathons, positive psychology, and driving half the country to come to this podcast. He rebuilt his life through post-traumatic growth, one habit at a time. He started helping veterans who felt stuck. He saw himself in their stories and he knew he could help. Dan doesn't preach. He listens. He doesn't fix. He empowers. He doesn't claim to be perfect. None of us are. We're human. We carry lived experiences, some hard to face, but that's where growth begins. Take him for one of your Instagram posts.
Bloody hell, Ollie.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
What
I will say about that is you are right. I am definitely not perfect. That's for sure.
Yeah. But who is?
No, absolutely no one.
I'd say let's start with that. So there's a lot of people that may portray perfection when, to me, that is their biggest imperfection.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I certainly cut things all the time. But I do my best to learn and then adapt and then build better every time. Just don't give up.
No.
And that is the mission, isn't it?
Yeah, because what would giving up look like to you?
Giving up?
Yeah. How would that take shape?
I have no idea. To be honest with you, I've spent my whole life failing, learning, carrying on. I've never really been someone to give up.
No. And I listened to your podcast you did before, and there was one story in particular that I'd like to start with.
Yeah, no worries.
That demonstrates the level of commitment and not giving up. And I think you know the story that I'm referring to, where every part of your body and mind was undoubtedly mentally fatigued, but you were faced with being under threat and under fire, but the responsibility of getting injured men out of a war zone. So if you're able to take us back to that day.
Yeah, so I think the moment you're talking about was towards the second half of my tour of Afghanistan 2010, when we had five, a big mass casualty event basically. And yeah, essentially I'd gone out as a QRF, which is Quick Reaction Force, to aid a patrol that was out on the ground. They had struck an IED, so an improvised explosive device, and taken two casualties. We had come out to aid them with the casualty evacuation. I was the point man, and that was my job. So I was always the first man in patrol. I had a metal detector in one hand, the left, rifle in the right. And my job was basically to make sure wherever we walked, I wasn't stepping on a bomb. But obviously, being we were in Sangin, which is in the green zone in Helmand province, you are under constant threat of people popping around the corner, spraying you with rounds, all getting blown up. You know, it's an area kind of in the by a river. It's green, it's built up, and people could really sneak up on you. Mm-hmm. And there was also a lot of like intertwined compounds that had either been blown up or they were still existing, where people could easily hide and stuff like that. So it was just like a high pressure environment all the time. So on that day, the troop out on the ground, which was made up of some people from my troop and another troop and a couple of Americans, had hit an IED. I've come out as point man of the QRF to go and aid them. As I'm coming to the river to cross over the river to get to them, another explosion goes off and injures another 3 guys. So effectively, there's now 5 casualties in that troop. And I'm coming across the river, coming up the other side, and I go against a wall. And just as I come around the corner, I go to step around the corner, and something effectively takes over my body, to be honest. Is screaming at me in my mind not to put my foot down. And I look down and I could just see the faint edge of a like metal in the ground, basically. And I was just hovering like an inch over a pressure plate IED. So someone was on my side. I turn behind me to my section commander. I'm like, come and have a look at this, Tone. And he like, can you just confirm that is what I think it is? And he was like, yeah, that's a bomb, mate. So luckily I noticed that one. I get back, we come back, I get back in the river. As I'm going along the river, again with everyone behind me, I like look down. I can see bits of dirt and grass essentially snagging on something in the water, and then I realise that there's a tripwire in the river. So, and then you look and uncover, and there's a like old school Russian grenade, like the old pineapple type ones, attached to a tripwire in the river as well. So that's like my second one, and we haven't even made it to the guys who've been hurt yet. So anyway, I back up a little bit and I managed to find like a channel up the bank, take like a bit of a 45-degree angle, and we kind of get up to where they are. And then when we get up there, it's just like an absolute mess. There's one guy in a bomb crater. There's 2 guys over the other side. One's American and he's clearly not going to make it. He's been blown up really bad. And then my mate has also got significant injuries. And then my other mate's with him as well, and he's got injuries. And then there's another guy with a hurt arm who, you know, through this whole thing, I actually didn't have much to do with. I focused on those main guys. And then from there, we start evacuating everyone through the route that I basically cleared to get us in. And then we've got to take everyone on a stretcher from there across about 200 meters across a field. But as we're doing the first casualty, which is my friend, who unfortunately we're pretty sure he's not going to make it because of his blast injuries, as we're coming across the field, the Taliban ambush us from both sides. So not only have we got 5 casualties, we're all out in open ground getting shot at. So that was the first casualty out, and we take them to the Sergeant Major's area, basically, and then they take them to the main base to be evacuated. I run back and I end up basically doing 4 of the casualty evacuations. The last one, we have to put, I won't name him, but we have to put this poor lad on a ladder to get him out because we've run out of stretchers. One of the guy in the bomb crater was a big guy, and it took like 6 of us to drag him out of it. And the other issue that whole time was, one, we were being shot at the whole time we were doing this whole casualty evacuation. So there's literally, you can see rounds, like you can see the dust splashes, it's cracking over your head. You've got that going on whilst you've got guys screaming and in pain. But then you're also in an area where you don't know if there's any more bombs. You're like really, really up against it, and it was super stressful. And all my memories from that whole entire thing are from bird's eye view. Like apart from one bit where we first got there, I took a knee, and my section commander started radioing through, and we were talking about how many casualties there were, what stage of casualty there were, whether they're, triaging everyone, basically. That's the only bit I remember not from a bird's eye view.
So do you think that it's because when you think about it, because there's so much going on,
yeah, I think
you know that the enemy are there,
extreme. Yeah,
that you almost have to zoom out to the point where are you visualizing that are you actually including the people that you're under fire from when you remember it?
Yeah, I can think like even now I can it's probably not accurate, to be honest, but I've got a good idea of where the firing points were, because then once we got everyone out, we then were scrapping with the Taliban afterwards. So I've still got a good makeup of the ground where people were firing from, because I could see the dust from where the rounds are hitting, roughly what angle they're coming from. And I'd been there a long time by then, so I'd already been there probably 5 months. I fought in that area the whole time. I knew where they were most of the time, if you see what I mean.
Man, that's a hell of a...
Yeah, but that was just one day. And the thing is, the only reason I talk about that one is because that's one of the instances I won my medal for.
Yeah.
But the actual reality was we were doing stuff like that all the time. It wasn't like a one-off. It was a bad experience and it was a bad day, but it wasn't completely out of the ordinary.
No. I get the impression from the way you spoke on the other podcast that you almost feel like not guilty, but you feel like, well, why do I deserve to win an award when in my eyes we were all doing that?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, lads are doing great stuff all the time. It's not.
But you should also recognise.
No, and I do, and I did the best I could.
Yeah, it's incredible.
In a situation where we were really fucking up against it.
Well, you talk about acts of selflessness, where human instinct deep down is survival. So if you're faced with an environment and a situation where you're now putting yourself at risk time and time again to save others that are injured and not able to leave that battle zone on their own, like imagine, I can't understand because I've never been in that situation myself, but I imagine, and knowing what you did, you were overcome with this deep sense of I'm not leaving here until every man's...
Yeah, and that was why I was committed to, I just kept going back into the shit, basically.
It's like Forrest Gump in that scene. he's in and out, and he's in and out.
I wasn't the only one, though, that's the thing, so...
that's what I'm visualising, though, and that, for me, when I watched that, it's like, wow.
Yeah, and when I watch that, I'm like, get close to home, isn't it? Yeah, it is a bit like that.
Yeah.
Apart from, I had other awesome blokes around me as well.
But did you ever have any doubt that if that was you on the other foot and you were the one that would injured, that
guys
other than them were there for you?
Yeah, they would dig out blind for everyone, yeah.
So when you look back now and you look at the people that you served with, can you ever take that bond away?
No, I only speak to a few of them regularly. Probably only one actually regularly. But when I do talk to guys I was with at that time, it's as if I'm talking to them then. Like there's no difference. It doesn't matter whether it's 15 years. It probably won't matter whether it's 40 years. It makes no difference. We will literally spark up a conversation as if I was talking to them yesterday.
Stuff like that as well, when you lose contact with people that you're that close to, you don't realise that bond is as strong in the initial years. It's only when there is a gap of 10 years and then you reconnect. Yeah. You're like, wow, actually, there's no time on this.
No, and I had a lot, dealing with my PTSD, which came out the back of that tour, and alcoholism and all that stuff. I had a long time out the military circles completely. Like I've got a couple of friends who I was in the military with, who I do stuff with. Other than that, I spent and didn't go out of my way to really converse with anyone or even like consume any media or know anything. It's only recently, since I've dealt with everything and started working with people and helping people, that I've actually got back into it. And not back into it, but actually can talk about it. Like I've had years, like I've only, to be honest, the people, some of my best mates are learning stuff about me now. I haven't.
What would happen when you attempted to speak about it before, when you weren't ready?
I get physiological responses, so I'd like shut down. I'd then go into like a spin of depression. I'd go boozing.
And were you able to talk about it when you were drunk, or would it not be something that was on your mind?
Yeah, I probably could talk about it when I was drunk, but it wasn't really. I was so out the military then that it wasn't really a thing.
Was it more of a war story as opposed to?
Yeah, it'd be a passing comment.
Yeah.
By a mate or someone, say Dan did some stuff at war, and I'd give a loose.
But no emotional connection, really.
Try not to.
No.
Yeah, because to be honest, the amount of traumatic or events that I was part of on that tour is like,
it's huge.
Well, there ain't enough time. If I'm down the pub drinking with someone and I've got to spin them all every single dip, it's going to take a while.
Is there any incident or story that you haven't shared that may be in the difficult to share box that you'd like to share now?
Yeah, I can think of one that I haven't shared, and I'm not gonna say who it was because I haven't. I've never conversed with their family.
No.
But one of the lads and Marines got blown up, and I just happened to be in the vehicle. Basically, another QRF. We'd gone from the main base. Someone's been blown up. They needed people to jump in vehicles and go, so I just jumped in the vehicle, basically, on top cover. We've then driven out, picked up one of the lads, picked up the guy who's been injured from an explosion. He's been thrown in the back of my vehicle. Then I've come down off top cover and basically he's completely unresponsive. Now, the reason I haven't spoken about this for a long time was because I haven't been able to process it. And it's only since I've worked on myself and worked out why I had issues with it that I can now talk about it. But I had to give him CPR. But I'm looking at him knowing he's not there. But I'm giving him CPR the whole way back to the main base. And I questioned myself for years and years after, saying, fuck, you didn't give him good enough CPR. It's your fault you didn't save him. And that happened for a long time. Now, I do not blame myself in any way now because there was nothing I could do. But my childhood issues and stuff I've worked on over the years are what caused that. And that's what I've realised over time. And that's why now I think about that scenario quite a lot now, but in a constructive way for myself.
You say you've reframed it?
Completely reframed it, yeah, because I wouldn't say I've gone as far as blame myself. It's not my fault he got blown up. But could I have done better CPR? Was always a thing for me. Could I have done better chest compressions? Could I have done better breaths at the time? It was the 30-2 at the time.
Yeah.
And then once we got him out, he then got taken to the med bay, and then a helicopter was coming to pick him up, basically. And one of his best mates came at the back of the vehicle and was like, Dan, is he going to survive? And I was like, no, he's not. And I remember him being like, thanks for everything you did. And me being like, well, fucking, did I do good enough? Like, that's the question. And the reality is, who fucking knows? Like, you do CPR and you don't know whether it's working. You don't know what you're doing. But yeah, I hung on to that for a long time.
Yeah, and I can see why. I can see it's a natural...
Yeah.
It's a natural question, but...
He's a fucking great bloke as well.
Yeah.
That's the not that it makes any difference who they are or whatever, but he's just a fucking good guy. When you're like part of a group of something, you're like, if there's one person you don't want something bad to happen to, it's that fucking guy. And it was just sad. And he wasn't like my best mate or anything, but I knew him well, and he was a really like loved
Just respected
guy.
him.
Yeah, he was just a good bloke. And it always seemed to be the way. The fucking good blokes got hit.
Really?
Yeah, they really fucking did. Yeah, either the best soldiers or the guys you really fucking respected, they all seemed to catch it up. And a lot of the time it's because we put ourselves, you know, we're putting yourselves in positions where you're more likely to get hit.
Yeah.
And funnily, and the guy I did CPR for, who sadly, did die, he wasn't even at the front of a patrol or anything. He just got hit in the middle. Because you just...
I think that guilt thing is a common thread, because I listened to a fair few podcasts.
Yeah.
Recently, there's a guy, Craig Harrison, the famous longest shot on the sniper, and he was riddled with guilt over either not protecting people in his eyes and sending people, and then even just choosing, well, you go that way, I'm going to go this way, and then the person that went that way, he had no... How could you know that person, if you'd have gone that way, you would have been the one to take the hit? And it's how common do you think that is in the military, that you're riddled with guilt over decisions you've made that you couldn't ever foresee having those consequences?
Yeah, I think with like me particularly, I now know where my issues came from. My issues came from my feeling that I had to save everyone that was hurt. The reality is, like, and I did save some people, but there was a lot I couldn't. I did my fucking best. I went out my way to try and save people. But it was that trying to save people was what effectively caused the PTSD. That and the getting the medal and then having to relive the same scenario over and over and over again. If
you look at the way anxiety works, we were talking earlier around, you create the worst case scenario and latch onto that and go even further. So what you're experiencing there is potentially you're not even acknowledging or thinking about the good things you've done. You're highlighting in your mind areas where you convince yourself you could have done more.
Yeah, and there are a lot of scenarios where I was involved with people who either died or were really badly injured, and I never had survivor's guilt, so I wasn't like guilt. I didn't feel bad about being the one that survived. I felt incredibly lucky, and I was very lucky. It was more just I felt so restricted by the amount I could do to try and save them. But even though the reality was there wasn't anything else I could have done, and I put myself in silly, dangerous positions in order to try and save people. Which you look back at now.
You should be proud. I know you are, but like from hearing that level of bravery, like, I'm proud of you.
Thanks, mate.
It's incredible.
I mean, yeah. The reason I'm here is to talk about these things so people understand, one, what it was really like, because there's a lot of time where I don't think people actually understand what we were actually up to out there and how kinetic it was and how bad it was. I mean, our tour was particularly bad. It's the worst the Marines had in Afghanistan out of the whole campaign. So, that makes it a little bit exceptional anyway.
Did you have the emotion of just hoping that someone somewhere was going to say, actually, you're sending us into this environment, it's not safe, it's not right, like, you're killing us almost?
I mean, I think by the end we were like, what the fuck?
What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I've just spoken recently about another thing that happened. I got put on a patrol with American bomb disposal guy. I'd been climbing trees the day before. I'd found a load of bombs when I was climbing the trees and cutting the trees down. And I got put out with him the next day. I ended up getting blown up next to him. He died. I then had to get the team out. I had to navigate around a load of bombs and get them out. And then the same thing again. I had no emotional connection to this guy whatsoever, but I was still determined to try and go and get his body across what effectively is a fucking minefield. And, but there was a better way, and luckily there were other people there who were like, damn, what the fuck are you doing? And I got out to safety, but that was the type of thing that's happening. And that was towards the end of the tour. And I look at the picture of me before that happened, and I'm fucking pissed off. I'm pissed off I'm being put in another position that whole patrol was ridiculous. We were 30 meters from the main base in Sangin, Jackson, out. And the Taliban have managed to put in what looked like about 15 bombs, dug in 30 meters from the base. and I'm there with a couple of weeks to go before I go home, you know, playing fucking hopscotch with bombs again. So I think we were a bit. It's not the guys who are in charge of me. It's not their fault or anything.
No.
It was our job, but fucking hell, like
It's just tough.
yeah. There's only so many times you can have near misses and get blown up. And
did you feel confident though in your skills and your awareness, and as long as you had enough time, you could navigate your way through those minefields? Or
nah, not at all.
No.
I did a good job and I found a lot of bombs.
You still felt like this is
But
like
fucking hell, you could easily, like, it only takes.
Yeah.
So some guys would. So some of the Taliban, you'd have a wire to it. So some were pressure plate. Some would have a wire to it with a clacker, and they would hide it behind a wall and then wait for you to get there and then clack it off. So it's all good me finding it if someone's at the end of it.
Did it feel too dissimilar to when we were having a swim just a minute ago and the tide was right in, so we had no beach and we're playing hopscotch on these stones. We can't see really what's underneath, but we're trying to use our feet to not stand on the wrong kind of rock. Is it that kind of level of like just step there and hope for the best in like the?
No. I didn't think like that. No. You're just. It's like you're hyper aware, and I think that's why I struggled after, because I was so aware of what everything around me, you know, because it's not just a case of I'm going to walk from here to there, there's a bit of ground sign there, and I can see something might have been dug up. There might be something, right? I'll have a check with a metal detector. It either goes off or it doesn't. It's not just that. It's, oh, wait a minute, there's a murder hole there. Someone might shoot at me. So then I'm going to dive over there. But when I dive over there, they probably put the bomb there. So you're double guessing and thinking what they would do. And that's exactly what I'd fucking do. If I was on their side and I was trying to disrupt the Marines at that time, I would have been putting bombs on the bun line where they're going to hide when we shoot at them. So you've got to think, when someone starts shooting at you and it's accurate fire, can I actually move? Can I take cover, or do I just need to like dig in with my eyelids and get as low as possible so the rounds don't hit me? Because I'm not going to be able to check it as I dive over a bun line.
And would you say it was a case of not waiting for the battle to start to have those thoughts? So everywhere you're going,
yeah. So you're thinking
you're a
thing called 5 and 20s. So you'd look 5 meters ahead, and then you're looking 20 meters ahead. So I'm scanning everything right around me. Then I'm scanning everything at 20 meters. And then I'm thinking, right, if someone does that, then I've got to do this. But then I'm like, oh, there might be a bomb there. So now so I'm looking over there, checking that if someone does shoot at me, and then you got all the guys behind you, and you're hoping they're going to do something safe too. It's just like hard.
What was the emotion like on the way home, knowing you're no longer in that environment and that you?
I mean, the pictures of me when I got to Bastion, which is the main base, like in the desert, was like I'm fucking happy. You realise what life meant when I got to safety from that tour, for sure. Like, I was fully aware that you have this bit of time and you need to make the fucking most of it, because fuck me, it's snatched away from you in an instant, and you got to make the most of it. And that's what I've been doing, is making the most of life, because, you know, when I was 23 or whatever I was, it became very apparent that life can be very, very short.
Yeah. Did you have that empty seat kind of scenario where the seats on the way to Afghanistan, some of those seats were empty on the way home? Was that kind of in your mind, or was it not?
No, I mean, we were completely aware that we were missing good guys, yeah. But, you know, when we got back, you miss every single funeral because you're out. So they've already been sent off, on their way, essentially. Obviously, you can visit graves, but then we had a christening to go to for one of the lads whose kid was born just before he deployed. He died. And that was more of a funeral than a christening for, kid. So it's stuff like that you come back to, and it's pretty snaggy.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, and young, and yeah, essentially, although I stayed in the military for quite a bit and I was a good soldier, and career-wise, I was going in the right direction and stuff like that, but Yeah. I don't regret leaving, but yeah, I was pretty bad then, to be sure.
So talk us through the process of leaving and how easy that decision was, and how much you went through to make that happen.
Yeah, so I was my whole journey was a little bit different. So I was a reservist to start, did my training, then I went into 40 Commando full time, then deployed, then I came back and I went back as a reservist again. I had stints of going on big courses and joining in with regulars and stuff like that, and I come back and then I trained recruits for a bit, went to Norway, did Arctic warfare training, all that stuff, and then I was doing a briefing course for SBS, and I was starting to feel outside of the military I was pissing up all the time, and clearly I was using it as a way to mask like my feelings outside the military. In the military I was pretty like zeroed in, getting on with my job, being a professional soldier, that kind of thing, but outside it was starting to be a thing. And then my sergeant major, we were having a chat, and I was talking pretty openly about it, and they had just basically found out that I was having issues, and he was like, "Are you sure you want to do this forever?" He's like, I was very fit, fitness wise and soldiering wise. I wasn't going to have a problem doing whatever I wanted to do. That's fine. The problem was what would happen to me when I get to like 40 and I've done this for the rest of my life. I probably would have been an absolute mess. I wouldn't be sitting here with you now, that's for sure.
Why is that?
Because I think I'd seen what I was like at war, perfectly capable of being a very effective warfighter. I also I might have died because I took high risks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with bravery medals. You either win one or you die.
Yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword, you know. And also there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity as well. It might come off or it might not come off, and I would have deployed again and again and again on different operations and things like that.
Is there an element of I'd rather beat myself up for being stupid than beat myself up with guilt?
I just think I could have done that for the rest of my life, for sure. But that would have meant just switching off and not dealing with stuff. And I picked the other road, which was to deal with it all. And I've ended up now doing all the things I like doing in my own time. And I think probably achieving a lot more. Or achieving different things, if you see what I mean.
Was using your experience and the paths you were going down and the way you were blocking out
the
emotions.
Yeah.
Facing that, knowing you're
I wouldn't have quit drink, that's for sure.
Tidying yourself up, and using all that experience to help others.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think they're like when we look at the reason why we've connected, it's because I can see your mission.
100%.
You can see I'm on a similar kind of mission and path where you're trying to use your experience and what you believe in to help others.
Yes,
it's as simple as that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's just different paths, and the path you choose is the path you choose. And I don't ever look back. You know, I know guys who are like, "Oh God, I regret not at least trying for special forces or stuff like that," and they're always hung up. And it's like, I have zero of that. Right. I'm very pleased I didn't, and I'm glad for all the experiences I had. The same as I'm glad for the experiences I had at war, because I am who I am because of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pleased I was a runner when I was younger, for example, because now I've picked up running again. I had a long time off, but I picked up running again, and it's fucking fantastic. Yeah. I love it. I love being out there all day and, you know, hurting. But I've now managed to not get back who I was, because I am who I am, but I'm living like the way I am, if you see what I mean. There's no forcing it. No. There's no pretending to be someone else. There's no, you know, especially in an environment like the Marines, a lot of guys are like putting stuff on, you know. You don't have to do that.
Macho.
Like, yeah, and it's not reality. I mean, but at war, that all comes out.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how hard you think you are. But when the shit hits the fan, you find out who's fucking got the balls and who hasn't.
You can see in actions, isn't it? It's all based on actions.
Exactly.
There's very little words that matter in those environments.
Yeah, and most of the people doing the brave stuff or going out their way to do stuff aren't the guys who pretend to be macho.
No.
It's the guys that care, and they, care about others. They want the best for everyone. It's those type of guys. And also inherently, a lot of those guys leave the military. They don't stay, and that's one of the issues I would say with the military. They don't, especially now. You're not retaining the guys who are like the actual fucking good soldiers.
Even that is because there is that.
Yeah, I think that's always been the case. There's fantastic soldiers who do stay, and a lot of mates who've stayed in the military are great soldiers, but there's a big cohort of other guys who leave, who go on to do fantastic stuff, just out the military.
Mate, let's talk about Atomic Rambo. So, when did that start?
So officially it started in January, so not even a year old. But it actually started about 6 years ago. Basically, I started because I managed to sort my PTSD out. I quit drink. I ran a successful company that I sold. Guys contacted me over the years just saying, "Oh, Dan, can we have a chat?" And basically what happened is I'd then help them work on small things in life to improve, and that through word of mouth it just got bigger and bigger. And I was obviously, this is all for free, and I still do it for free for veterans, but then it got a little bit deeper. Then it was guys who were on the bones of their arse, or they were losing their family house and stuff like that. I'd end up giving them money, but I've seen what it can do, and it makes a huge difference. Most, not all, but most of the guys I've worked with are all sorted, they're decent, and it wasn't always therapy they needed. Sometimes it was just a fucking quick injection of cash that they needed to sort their lives out quickly, or give them the time. It then gives them the time to find a better job or change their circumstances. So I was doing that, and then when I sold my tree company, I was a bit like, what am I doing? Because I wasn't really sure. And then I thought, right, I actually really enjoy this. I feel like I'm doing a job that's actually helping people. So I retrained properly as a positive psychology coach, and I retrained to help people quit alcohol, because a lot of guys I was working with were pissheads, essentially, like we all were. Well, not all, but a lot of us were from the military. Some of them got PTSD, and the alcohol was just getting in the way. And I do believe that if you've got PTSD or you think you've got issues, the first thing you need to do is stop drinking. And the quicker you stop drinking, the quicker you're going to deal with everything else.
And is that completely stop? Is there
I mean, just cutting down is going to help. Yeah. Any cutting down is going to help. If you can quit, it's going to be even better. I don't know many people who've quit alcohol and then gone, no, life's shit after quitting alcohol.
No, it's the best thing I've ever done was stop drinking completely in April.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
And I was only ever a Sunday roast glass of wine, or
Saturday, so you weren't heavy
maybe
drinking anyway.
A couple of heavy nights out a year.
But even that can make a difference. Yeah, I mean, if you've noticed the change, even though you were barely drinking, imagine what it can do for someone who's drinking.
I'd say I noticed the dip after the weekend. So it'd always be, even just having 2 glasses of wine or 2 cans of beer at the weekend, would mean my mood would dip slightly on a Monday.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, if I have like a proper night out, that would mean I know it's going to take me all week.
Oh, yeah,
it's going to take me the whole week. But because I know I've got those issues that are there, and it doesn't take much to tip that anxiety needle all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Like, why would I? This is the way I talk to myself. Why would you do anything that has the ability to make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a toxin and a poison, basically.
Yeah. So I just cut it out, tried it, and then started to see actually there's no dip.
No.
And then even when the dips come, so even then when life comes along and knocks you, the reaction
which it always will,
and it has.
Yeah.
But because I'm not drinking, I'm able to stay positive.
Yeah,
and I'm able to see from a bit, like almost from another dimension where I can look at it more rationally. Maybe not straight away. There's always that reaction to anything that happens in life. But for me, it's how quickly can I return back to this rational state of like just being happy.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why, so I trained in that. I trained in positive psychology. I actually do more of the positive psychology work than I do the alcohol work, but I get good results. And I just, expanded that to anyone that wants to do that type of work with me, basically. So I work with, so for example, my current cohort of alcohol is all guys. They've all got kids on the way, or they're, you know, they are fully, or they got businesses and they're fully aware they need to pull their finger out, quit alcohol and progress.
Start performing.
Yeah. And then positive psychology works quite broad. So I'm working with some owners of big businesses, some owners of small businesses, some people that just want to feel a bit better in life. And I've got good, tasks, and basically what I'm trying to do is give people the tools. So we run through a course and give people the tools so that when life gets hard, which it always will, or when grief happens, when you look, everyone's going to lose someone, for example.
Yeah.
And to pretend that that's not going to happen to you is you just burying something away. So I can give people the tools to deal with things that are going to happen. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just set people up so that they can start going like that rather than this and waiting for a dip. It's to come at things from a higher level, essentially, and just start performing the way most people can. It's just most people aren't. So they're the courses I run.
Moving uphill, but you're having these dips as opposed to like this all the way
exactly,
back down.
Yeah, rather than the roller coaster.
You're still progressing.
You want the stairs.
With moments where you're still going to have that reaction, the dip, the sadness, the grief, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Accept that. So at that point,
but deal with it in a sensible, constructive way. And that is what I'm trying to do. It's quite it's a massive subject, but I work on basically 3 simple principles: awareness, resilience, which is why I'm here, and commitment. Yeah. So being aware, so the awareness about who you are, what your beliefs are, what's actually important to you, why you do the things you do, and then building resilience, which, comes in many forms. It's either doing hard things. I get people to journal. So we have what we call a hero's journal. You start writing down how you reacted to things, why you're doing it, do it regularly, you start to see patterns. And then when something happens, you go, oh, actually, I've been here before, because you've actually been mentally thinking about how you're actually acting. Because a lot of the time people are just like, oh, why did I do that? If you actually start jotting it down every day, even if you don't read back through it, you've done that mental logging of why you've done stuff. Then it's the commitment, actually committing to something, set some goals, set some, long-term, short-term goals, and actually moving in a positive way towards achieving them. And all we do is it's just small steps. But obviously you take these small steps and over time it compounds. You look back in a year and you're like, fucking hell, I've gone from here and now I'm here. And it's like, Jesus.
I think some people just love having that hand to hold as well, where they want someone to believe in.
And that's a really good point.
If you're someone that genuinely cares, then knowing that
accountability,
it just creates this energy.
Yeah.
So regardless of what you're encouraging them to do,
and
it's down to them as an individual, but knowing that you've got their back and that they want to show you that they are committed.
100%.
I think it's so important.
And a lot of the feedback we get is about the accountability. So it's actually, I know what I need to be doing. Most people know, if they're honest with themselves, what they need to be doing in order to improve themselves. Most people do, if they're being honest and not lying to themselves.
It's like a personal trainer, isn't it?
Yeah,
doing the
exactly.
exercise, how to
and
do
they
that.
say,
someone saying, one more
when
rep.
I was doing it, one more rep, yeah. And when I was doing this, I had Dan in my mind going, well, actually, you can do this. And they're like, when you know, and you speak to someone and you know that you've then got to send them a message at the end of the day saying, oh, I did that task, Dan, or I didn't do it. It makes all the difference.
I agree. And I always refer to this now because it made such an impact on me. There's a guy I did a podcast with called Rohan, and he talks about the Cato, where he explained it to me that, and we had this conversation around doing the right thing and doing something good when no one's watching. And he said, well, no, the principle of having a Cato is someone in your life that you admire and respect and that does things that inspire you. Well, your Cato is someone that you imagine if that person is watching me now,
Yeah.
So as a coach,
Yeah.
you are the Cato for the people that you're
And
supporting.
it's like when I hear someone talk about themselves in a negative light, and then I say to them, if that was your friend talking about themselves that way, what would you say to them? And normally they're like, oh, I'll give them a hug. And it's like, yeah, but you're doing that to yourself over and over and over again. Negative self-talk.
It's really easy to do that though. And
it's easy.
we've
got negativity bias. So as humans,
not even recognise you're doing it. And I'll give an example. I gave a presentation to a few colleagues, and one of them at the end said, I've only got one bit of feedback to give you that's constructive, in that you use the language "I think" a lot. I think I've got some value to give. I think that I'm going to help you today.
Yeah.
And he said, have the belief in yourself that you are helping people. So take the think away, because believe in yourself, because it's clear that you're on the mission to help people.
And
terminology that you don't realise or recognise yourself.
Yeah, and in the early days, I would say I was guilty of that as well. You know, what I'm doing, helping people. But now, I'll be honest, like,
I know.
Yeah, I know, because the feedback we get, and it's working. It's working really well.
Yeah.
I get great, you know, with the alcohol stuff, it's been fantastic. The positive psychology is even better. You know, people in big management positions and stuff are going into meetings not pretending to be who they're not, and just being themselves, and, you know, using all their extensive knowledge and things, and coming back and being like, bloody hell, I was just myself.
That's the difference.
That was better.
That's the difference. But you going through that process and knowing that your coaching works.
Yes.
Me doing this podcast thing over and over again, and knowing that I'm getting good feedback, means that the moment you turn up and you start, the energy is, I'm going to do all right. This is going to be okay.
Of course it is. Yeah.
I've got the value. Just be yourself, because it works.
And also, what's the worst case scenario?
It doesn't record. It drops out. I cry. You go home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's still
still good. We still had a good day.
Exactly. Yeah. And working out people's. I know we spoke about this before, but people catastrophize all the time. But then when they actually break it down, and it's like, should I take this risk with this business? I do quite a bit of business coaching. Should I take this risk with the business? I'm like, what's the risk? Oh, you know, well, if I employ someone, they might do this. Okay. Or it might cost me a load of money. Okay. Well, how much money is it actually going to cost you? Well, actually, it won't cost me much, because they're on a contract that's guaranteed, and they'll at least wipe their face. Okay. So what's the risk then? Well, yeah, if you put it like that, the risk is actually minimal. Okay. Well, it sounds like you should probably take that risk that's minimal then.
Yeah.
And it's the same across, but they're thinking all these things that could go wrong. Whereas the reality is, the worst case is they work for you for a month, it doesn't work out, and you just have to part ways. Like, that's it. You might lose. The worst case is you're going to lose their money for the month, but you're probably not. You know, and that's it.
Makes sense.
And it might work out, and you might, you know, earn 30% off of them. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I can send them to that, and I've freed up time to market more and push the company more and stuff like that. And funnily enough, you know, stuff blooms from there. But unless you take that risk, but what I would say with risk is work out what your worst case scenario is. It's normally not as bad as what you have made it up in your mind to be.
No. And ultimately,
unless you're at war.
Yeah. And ultimately, something I'm learning as well is that without just doing it, work it out as you go. Because it's, I delay things so much, and I delayed this podcast to the point where the guy that was teaching me, when I came up with another hurdle that I'd created, where I said, I'm just going to wait until I've got enough money to buy that, or I'm just going to wait until, and he said, it feels to me that you're actually creating further delays for yourself, because you're scared to start.
Yeah, you could. It's the same as drinking. You could think of any excuse to have a drink.
I've just got a wedding on in 2 Friday. Months, so there's no point me stopping now, because there's a wedding in 2 months. So I'll drink then. So therefore, I'll think about stopping then.
Yeah, and it's the same as like the Friday thing. Oh, work's been terrible. I'm going to have a drink. Okay,
we've all been there.
Yeah. Oh, work was really good this week. I should have a drink. It doesn't matter what way you look at it. There's always an excuse to have a drink. It's exactly the same thing. It's the same thing with business.
Now I use that process. Work was shit today. so I'm going to go for a walk to feel better. Work was great today, so I'm going to go for a walk today to feel even better.
It's replacing the routine. The routine's the issue. So if you get in the mindset of it's a Friday, it doesn't actually really matter what happens, I'm going to have a drink, you need to change that routine. So it's Friday, work was, however, I'm going to go down the gym and then see how you feel after. 9 times out of 10, you then don't want to have a drink. So it's just getting that, because drink is, when I work with people with alcohol, it's not, where is it?
A little bit windy.
It is, isn't it? When I work with people with alcohol, they're not, the alcohol's a sticking plaster on the issues. So normally we do a couple of sessions about alcohol and then it turns into about their life.
The real reason.
Yeah, the real reason. And it's, once you get into that, is when people don't ever look back and they never want to drink again. Or it's well, what are my friends going to think? Well, okay, have you ever spoken to your friends about it? Well, no. Okay, well, be a good start. Yeah, a lot of
it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
And it's sad to think the amount of people that want to make changes for themselves,
but who don't because of other people.
But they don't.
Yeah,
because of the fear.
Well, the fear of what you've told yourself. Not even what, most of the time their friends aren't even saying anything. It's what you are thinking for your friends.
Definitely.
Yeah. You're not actually listening. And I definitely had this. I thought when I quit drinking, at first, I thought my friends, that would probably be it, because that's all we really had. And in the end, what happened is they all slowed down and we end up doing a load of other stuff. Yeah. It turns out they're actually just really good friends. And so you think that you're only friends with people and that might be the case for some people, and it is the case for some people. Yeah. They are only friends with people because they're drinking. That is the case for some. But in my experience, I ended up just reinforcing that they were really good mates, and we just don't go boozing anymore. So ended up being way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
I feel like we've aligned today on the fact that you've just travelled down. And you've come knocked on my door, I've let you in, and we're drinking a coffee. And it's, although we've never met, it's just so easy, isn't it, to connect on a level where it's not forced.
And it should be.
It's not forced, but it's definitely, it's been happening since I started the podcast. But prior to that, your circle of friends, that's who you interact with. You've got your work colleagues. But outside of that, unless you're in like different sports clubs and bits like this, it's rare, isn't it? It's to have that level of connection with a complete stranger. A lot of times you've got associates you'll see in the street, hello mate, and that's it.
Yeah, and you're basically opening doors to lots of things.
Non-surface level to like deep.
Yeah. And this is what will happen. You just end up meeting people who you are on a level with. I do think it's important to also interact with people you're not on a level with, so that you're not just in this echo chamber.
Yeah.
Of guys working on themselves.
It reinforces your tribe.
Yes.
By spending time outside of your tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's very important. But yeah, you're just gonna find that.
I love it.
I was shut off. And that was my point. I shut off from it for years. Didn't speak about any of this stuff. But as soon as I did, it's
like wow.
Yeah, and people come and I talk to guys who I was at war with now regularly. They message me stuff and say, "Oh, thanks for sharing this," or "Can you send me some photos?" or whatever. And it's nice.
Have there been like standout occasions where people have shared things with you or opened up, and that it's the first time that they have done?
A lad messaged me the other day who was overwatching me when the American bomb disposal guy got blown up. And he said some stuff to me that I hadn't really thought about. So from his perspective, because obviously I'm the guy there who's been blown on his ass. I'm just trying to do the best I can to survive. He's watching the whole thing. So, and and he kind of expressed that he was a battle casualty replacement. So he replaced one of the lads who'd been killed. So he came into a really like strong knitted Royal Marine Commando group of guys who
that's tough.
Super tough, yeah. And he's a really impressive lad, like sportsman, soldier and everything. And he said to me that not just in that event, but in multiple things, he was looking at me like, Jesus, this guy's like
On it.
like flow state out. Like I'm at the front of the patrol, and he's come in, you know, and his eyes must be like, you know, he's come in to replace someone who's been killed. Like, he ain't coming to a place that's nice or all right or it's intense. And to him, he was looking at me thinking, Jesus, like, this guy's cruising it, brave, you know, going for it. And then he said in that moment when I got blown up, he just saw me literally go into like mode immediately. He said, you did not hesitate. There's no hesitation even when you got blown up. And I think you just get in this cycle of like flow state even on a job like that. And it was just not, it was nice to hear it, because we've just never spoken. You know, to hear that I was actually all right at my job, and it wasn't me just like flapping around thinking, whoa, like, you know.
Which is probably how it felt.
Oh God, yeah. You're like, oh fuck me, there's another bomb there. Like, you know, step over this tripwire. But to him, he's watching it going, Jesus.
He's seeing it from another perspective.
Yeah,
and he's seeing someone.
But that's the same as like someone running a company. You know, someone's looking at that person running 100 million, you know, billion-dollar company going, Jesus, they are like, you know, every day they're calm as anything and all these meetings and stuff like that. Whereas the reality is they're like, so, well, you know,
you're seeing the chaos and you're seeing
you see the end product,
but he's seeing the magic. He's stood back.
Yes.
And he's seeing the magic that's happening.
Yeah. Obviously that ain't in my mind. But it was nice to get some feedback, because I've never really had any, other than getting a medal that says I was very composed and, you know, went out of my way to try and save people.
But moments like that undoubtedly would inspire others that are watching, that then have an impact on the way that they want to soldier.
Well, exactly, yeah. You know, I remember, this is another thing, I remember got put in recce troop for a bit, which is just one of the other troops. They're like recce troops, like where you go, it's like that extra level of soldiering. I got put in their troop to be a point man, and their boss got blown up, really awesome guy. Triple amputee, and he had a replacement come, and his replacement was another mountain leader, Royal Marine, fantastic soldier. And you know, I heard him on the net all the time. He was always so calm, like in any situation, firefights and stuff like that. And I was like, Jesus, like that, he is a good soldier. And I remember after that tour, he put his chit in to leave like immediately after. I was like, I ain't ever doing this again. And I remember all the guys being like, fuck, if that guy's leaving, what's the future for us? He's like, we're seeing this guy who's like the best soldier we've ever, well, in our eyes, is the best soldier you've ever seen. And he's like, see, guys like that have a lot of influence on you, because you see someone who's so composed and so good, and they're like, this is bullshit. It's can
Again,
have
on the
a
flip
real
side of that,
effect.
I wouldn't expect you to drop any names or anything, but they're displays of soldiering where you're like, that's definitely not how I want to do it. Maybe with the people that are more vocal, and you're like, actually, because of the way I'm seeing that, that's definitely not how I want to represent myself as a soldier.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same as any job.
Yeah,
it's probably the same in the police and the same in the military. But you know, I was proper green when I went in, and you know, and I got some shit when I first joined the troop for not being good enough at you know, to the level I needed to be to deploy, for sure. Whether that was my fault or not, it was just because I was in a place and they weren't putting me on the pre-deployment training, and then right before the tour I get put in a fighting troop, and they've all been together for a year, and then all of a sudden I'm like, and you know, I could see how someone would be like, that guy's shit, like, we don't want to fight with that guy. But the Marines are decent. The level of soldiering is good.
Like, it's almost impossible to win in that scenario as well, because you.
Oh yeah, well, I did.
How can, like, initially
you can just prove?
Initially, you're like,
yeah,
this lot have been together for time.
Yeah, and I was a reservist, so it comes with the added like rubber dagger stamp.
Again, it's actions.
And that's all I could do. All I could do was perform the best I could, which is what I did. And in the end, it worked out. But looking at soldiers around you, and it's an awkward one on that tour, because you couldn't give anyone shit for like say someone didn't want to go out on patrol. Look, I'm fucking scared. I don't want to go out on patrol, which did happen. You can't go to them. Oh, fucking man up, you pussy. Like, because they might go out and die.
Yeah.
Like,
You just got to accept it. People have off days, I suppose, but it's whether it's
people have off days, and it's 6-7 months.
Yeah.
Some people are going to switch off or not want to do stuff, which you can't then go, oh God, you should do your job better. We had some instances where it wasn't the Marines, it was people attached to us. When we'd be in a compound and, things have been hot, we had times in bases where the Taliban were like trying to take us over, like fully overrun us. So you can see why people might be a little bit scared about going out on the ground.
Yeah.
If we're getting that on in the base, imagine what it's like out on the ground. You've got people flanking you, and they've got all the advantage. They can ambush you anytime. So when you go out on a patrol, and someone's like, so we had a problem getting a medic to join us because it was that kinetic. So getting a medic to come out of us on the patrol was a real issue. We had a couple of Royal Marine medics who were out, but they were so busy because they were doing a whole area. But anyone that was attached, we had an issue getting anyone to go out on the ground because the reality was it was just fucking
risky,
super risky, and they worried like
people don't want to die, do they?
Yeah, and they probably didn't mean to end up in a commando unit going tip of the running around sanging, getting blown up and shot at all the time. Is a little bit. Definitely. And there's loads of stories of medics who got attached to Marines who've done amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But there were a lot. And it wasn't just medics, it's interpreters, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, you can't blame anyone for not wanting to go through that door or follow someone in when you're getting rounds like you can't.
Yeah. Well, if you compare that to other jobs in the world where people refuse to do things all the time because it's a bit risky.
Yeah.
And there's no comeback there. Whereas you can't blame people.
Yeah, and I had it in, running my tree surgery company. We were like a high-end tree outfit, all really good climbers. And you'd all turn up at the job and the tree would be fucked. And you're like, so who's climbing this today? And some lads would be like, look, that is just too risky for me. Normally not me, but that's...
I suppose the difference is when you're in a war zone and you've got people that are saying, I don't want to do that. And that either makes the unit weaker because you've got less people, or in turn you say someone says, I'm not going out there, which then means this guy's going out and he goes out and he dies. It's like that.
Yeah,
that's the kind of dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was lucky in terms of the lads are fucking brave. We did stuff all the time. I volunteered for stuff quite regularly.
Well, anyone that puts that uniform on and travels to those war zones, full stop, is a level of bravery that you can only understand, like saying goodbye to your loved ones and know you're going.
Yeah, the whole process is hard. Yeah,
it's every step of the way there's got to be.
Yeah, and I can't even. It's one of the things I do think about it is the guys that had kids and families and stuff. I mean, everyone's got a family, but with kids, and I was younger then. I didn't have any of that. I had a girlfriend and my mum and siblings and stuff like that, which is hard in itself. That's the thing that's hard, but the having a kid and wife and house and
being on the way. I mean, it'd be my worst nightmare, to be honest. Knowing I was on my way to an environment like that, knowing that my family and my kids knew that I was going there.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not nice.
No, I mean, we were taking out double life insurances and injury insurances and packs or whatever it was called, because you just know.
I think anyone that goes to war and in their mind, to almost convincing yourself that no one really cares if I come back. I think that's got to be an easier mindset.
Well, I do. After the tour, I then did stuff in the trees that I would class as more dangerous than what I did in there, because I would say I was on the verge of I didn't give a fuck. So I did some really, really big, gnarly tree work.
Yeah.
That fucking hell, I think back of it now and I'm like, I wouldn't take that risk now. And I was craning huge bits over buildings or dropping out, rather than like dismantle the whole tree. I'd get up about 5 meters, get the biggest saw humanly possible, and cut it from like there and drop like 130 foot in one go. Like those risks, and I think, and that was with the drinking, and that was like escapism. Like, I don't give a
that's
fuck.
PTSD.
If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Yeah.
That's PTSD, and that's
PTSD.
showing up as like, I don't care what happens.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. But I was very skilled, and when you do like with tree work, I've done it so often all the time that when things would start to go a bit wrong, you knew what to do. So you get away with it, and that's also a problem, because you get away with it over and over and over again. I mean, I've come out the other side, but we had done some big gnarly stuff.
As part of it, almost you wanted to put yourself back in an environment that is dangerous with lots to think about, because
you're almost looking for a bit of adrenaline again, aren't you? And you don't get it. I never did. Never got any adrenaline really doing the odd bit of tree work. You would, but
talk us through your next challenge then.
Next challenge, Ironman Wales next weekend, which I use as, I just like, one, I like the event. It's amazing. Like the support and stuff's brilliant, and everyone comes together, and you see like people going through adversity, and you talk about resilience. You see if you lined up the people, like looking at them at the beginning of an Ironman, you'd be like, you can't do an Ironman.
Really?
You'll get humbled. There are people there who you'd look at and think, there's no way you can do that, and they'll still be going 14, 15 hours later, trudging around, still smashing it, get over the line. Like, it's amazing. So I did one last year. It was brilliant, and I had a chance to go again, so I thought, fuck it, go again. So looking forward to that. I use that type of stuff for training for the mountains. I don't have any mountain trips coming up because I have the Arctic Spine Race in February 2026. So I'm just training, getting my legs strong as humanly possible, ready for that race, basically. It's a hard race to get into. You've got to spent time in Arctic conditions. You've got to have done ultra marathons at a decent pace, not just getting through it. And I think that race is going to kind of suit my skills, because it's unsupported, just under 300 miles in the Arctic Circle, and you go from A to B, and it's the quickest from A to B. There's no stopping.
So how does that compare to the one you did over in Alaska? Talk us through that.
The difference is Alaska's mountaineering, so that's different. This is a race, and it's not at altitude. Last year I did Denali, and easily, for me personally, the best mountain I've ever been on. I've been on a few mountains. One, because I made it to the top, always makes it a bit better. But it's not always about getting to the top. It's just, I just met amazing people. The mountain was clean. It was a well maintained mountain. It's not tents everywhere and a mess and stuff like that. And it's just brutal. We're dragging 70 kg. Well, between your backpack and a polk you're dragging behind you on skis or snowshoes, you are going all day, every day, up steep stuff.
What was the temperature?
-40 on top. Wow. -20 odd normally. It ranges because you start off really low. It's one of the longest mountains from base camp to the top. And that's what makes it so hard. When we were at high camp, or when I was at high camp, ready to go to the summit, there's basically a load of rich people there who can't pay someone to take them to the top. It's one of the 7 summits, which is there's a high summit on each continent. It's one of them. And it's just good to see. It's just a beast mountain. It's not overly technical.
What was the toughest part of that?
The toughest part of Denali was when I arrived in Anchorage and the airline lost my baggage, and I had to watch my whole entire team go up the mountain without me. And then I had to play catch up for 5 days behind. That was the hardest bit.
Bet you learned a few lessons out there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I learned to stay calm. Don't worry. I had to drop 4K on more gear because the bags weren't coming, and then beg, borrow and steal my way up the mountain. I managed to jump on a rope with some really nice Americans who I went all the way with. 2 of them didn't summit. 1 came with me to the summit. But the whole thing's just an awesome learning experience. So I went from a like strong team of 8. We were in 2 teams of 4, but I went from a strong team. My mountaineering partner who's from the Marines, who's a fantastic mountaineer. I was with him. I'm normally with him. And all of a sudden, I'm just basically on my own looking after myself. And it was a really, really good learning experience. And I also realised that I was way more proficient than what, because you're so used to working in a team, like normally a team of 2, when you're all of a sudden on your own, you're exposed. But I realised I fucking really enjoyed it. So I got to solo some really like awesome sections, soloed the main ridge up to the high camp before you go to the summit. And that was like one of the best days of my life, to be honest.
Fair play.
Yeah.
It's so clear to me when I met you today and when we went for the walk down to the beach, and I hadn't learned any of this about you, but I knew, I didn't know the details obviously, but the way that you carry yourself and how humble and kind you are, I knew that there was this backstory there already. You'd done all this stuff, you'd learned all these lessons, you push yourself and you continue to push yourself in those environments, and it's clear it's just like who you are, isn't it?
That is, and that's what I mean by a lot of my work is about people being who they actually are. It's not about trying to be someone. What I've managed to do is actually just be who I am.
Strip it back.
Yeah, strip it back and just simplify everything.
Add things that complement, add things that add value, add things that add value to others.
And I'm a shit mountaineer. Like I genuinely am. Like I'm terrible at altitude. Like genetically, I'm not okay. But I fucking love it. And I still go and do big things. And I carry everything myself. I don't have a guide. And it's amazing. But sometimes it goes wrong. Like, a couple of months ago, I was in Peru, almost died. I got HAPE, which I don't know any good mountaineer who hasn't got in that position. It does happen. But the difference is that was still a fantastic trip. It was amazing.
It's a unique lesson that you've learned. You've overcome
another lesson. I can't go as quick as the other guys. I've got to take that bit of extra time going up. It doesn't mean I can't do it. No. Physically, I'm very strong. I can do all this stuff. It's not a problem. But altitude takes no prisoners, and you've got to respect it. And it's about patience.
Is it a case of getting to the point where when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the middle of something that is uncomfortable or grief or something that you don't like or something physically hard, that you're actually...
Start smiling.
You're happy because, great, I now get to test the whole concept.
Yeah.
I'm a coach that teaches people about resilience.
Yeah. 100%.
This is now an opportunity for me to learn something new about myself.
Yeah, and someone said to me recently, "Oh, you're just doing events and that because it's like an addiction. You just do it. You have to win or you have to do." And I'm like, it's fucking not even about that. I DNF'd 200 milers this year. I had some back issues, and I should have not. I entered the race. I should have unentered myself. Yeah. I didn't. I still did it. I learned so much, and I had a great time. I met amazing people.
But if you finish every race and challenge you've ever completed, set yourself to complete, then they've been too easy.
Yeah,
they're not the challenges.
100%. Yeah, and I just find what I get, especially in mountaineering, what you get from it, you can't get anywhere else. No. You can't hide on the mountain. Like, you get found out. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're paying someone to take you up there. It doesn't matter. You will find out what your personality's like 100%, because you are going to be under adversity, whatever happens. It doesn't matter how good you are or how shit you are. You're going to find out who you are. You are going to find out whether you're actually fit enough, always. And you just can't replicate that anywhere else.
Challenge accepted.
And then it's just whether you can actually deal with it.
Yeah.
It's because it's emotional. Like, it takes a lot out of you. And if you're someone that suppresses emotions, not emotionally intelligent, you're going to have a meltdown on the mountain. Like, especially if you're doing it unsupported and do it yourself. Obviously, you don't just go and climb a mountain if you don't know how to map read, you don't know how to ice climb, you don't know how to camp properly or live in cold conditions and stuff like that. But if you do, and you do mountaineering without someone, be prepared, because fucking hell, nothing ever goes the way you think it's going to, does it? And it's about dealing with stuff when it goes wrong. And that's what I think that's what I love about it. Denali, I got split away from a whole entire team that we'd prepped for a year to go. I end up having to cuff my way all the way up. I end up getting a magical summit, and I mean like the best conditions ever. And I'm standing on top of North America like, oh, fuck me, I fucking made it up here. And it's just like, yeah, you can't beat it. And all that was resilience and not allowing things to affect me too much. Losing your bags, not being with a team, tired and cold, and like all of it. Everything. Yeah, I'm like turning into a skeleton.
Yeah, but you did it though, didn't you? You kept going.
And that's the point. It's just not giving up. Like sometimes you won't be able to make it to the summit, but it's not even about that. The guys, most of our team didn't make it to the summit. It was only me and my mountaineering partner were the only two that made it. But they all learned so much about themselves, and they've done fantastic getting to the high camp on Denali. Is hard work. It's an inhospitable place. Like 100-mile-an-hour winds, freezing.
I think killing your ego.
Yeah, the egos.
Before you do these trips, so you accept, I might not finish this and someone else might. But that 100%. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go. I'm going to give my absolute best. If my body or my mind or some circumstances mean I can't finish it, so what? How much more value are you going to gain by going and giving it a go, even if you don't finish, than doing nothing?
Yeah.
I stopped so many people, I think.
What I've seen on every mountain is, I've got to get to the top. And there's just crazy drive to get to the top.
And that could be dangerous.
That's very dangerous. I haven't been on a mountain where someone hasn't died.
No.
The only one I've been on where someone didn't die was Peru on the last one, where I nearly died, but I didn't. But someone has died on every single other trip while I've been there, not directly related to me. And 9 times out of 10, it was going when they shouldn't have gone, or it's taken a fall and their team not sorting something out because they want to go to the summit, or it is just, and that's what I mean by you find out who you are.
Yeah, I spoke to Mitchell when he was 3/4 of the way through his challenge, where he went from England all the way to the summit of Mount Everest, and I spoke to him I spoke to him just before he was about to embark on his last push up the mountain. I asked him that question, and you imagine that dilemma because he's put 7 months into it. And
I think if it wasn't right on the day, he is, though.
He said no.
Save someone.
He said no. If it's not right, if I get 3/4 of the way up and it's not safe, I'll just turn around.
Yeah,
the mountain's going nowhere. It happens another day.
Yeah,
and I believed him, and it was.
I'm pretty sure he would.
It was reassuring to know.
Yeah.
Because you think, bloody, I'm quite worried for this bloke.
Well, I don't think he would do all that if he had the other mindset.
No,
I think if he was driven by ego, he probably wouldn't have made it across the channel.
No,
in all honesty,
brutal. The level of, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how his body.
That's who I need to talk to about swimming the channel.
Yeah, that swim he did across the channel where he was up against it.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Swallowing water.
He finished in the night, didn't he?
And it was extreme. Like the conditions, it was dark. I think his girlfriend was on a boat just crying. Like
classic.
I can't even see him. He's just got like a bit of string on his ankle, I think.
Yeah, he just seems like a good dude.
Yeah,
and I just don't think. If you were doing, there's always an element. And ego's not all bad. There'll be an element of it that he wants to do that, but you can tell, especially when it comes to the mountains, that he's not that type of guy who's just like, this is the goal. If we don't achieve the goal, I failed. Like, it's clearly
he wouldn't have put that 6 months doing the bikes and all that before it if it was about that.
It must have been horrific.
Well, he had his dog on a trailer when he was riding. It's all these added things.
I like it.
It's another mindset, that is.
Yeah. Really well, you have to treat that as like I said to you earlier, it's just another day. Like Ironman to me is a day out. Like you've got to start treating these things like, oh, it's another day, we'll pick ourselves up and off we go again. Like you can't be like too hard on yourself. I think if you're hard on yourself, when you have a shit day, like he must have in the saddle over and over again.
And I'm speaking to so many guys like this, and now you're just another one that's doing these unbelievable things. Jack Pitcher, who ran across Australia.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it took him like 2.5 months or something of just running every single day in 40 degrees heat. And it's amazing what your body can do when your mind goes to the right place.
There are some things I want to do, but I'm more committed to building up the company, helping veterans in a bigger and better way. That is my, that's what's keeps me going. And
it's balance, isn't it? It's balancing everything you want to do against everything that you feel.
yeah, and life changes, doesn't it? Like, you know, sometimes some things are more important than others, and you know, like the running and the endurance. Like I said to you for Ironman, I don't have any like time goals or anything like that. I'd like to do well, but I'm not. I don't put any pressure on myself because it's not for me. It is a good day out, and I will enjoy it. And yes, it will be hard and all the things that come with that. But I'm not like, I need to do 11 hours, I need to go sub 10 or anything like that. There's just none of that, because that's not, it's just not my purpose.
Changes it, yeah.
Yeah. And it'd be the same with the mountains. If I started, need to make the summit, whatever. And I know people that do that, and that's fine. But it wouldn't be the same thing for me. Then it becomes an event.
Mate, I think we're there. I feel like we could just keep going all day.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like we could keep going all day.
Well, I genuinely really appreciate it, and well done for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks again for travelling down.
Pleasure, mate.
And it's, the thing I'm learning through this process is that the podcasts where people travel down and we get to know each other a bit, like, it doesn't end there. The connections, and you never know when the part like that's going to come back round again and in another event or something like that. And just love the idea of being able to support people in what they're doing moving forward.
And also, I know from running my company before, anyone that saw anyone else as competition didn't do very well. It's all about working with people, using people's strengths, you know, and just finding good people you want to be around. Like that is, you know, and not everything's like on a business sense, but you want to be around people.
All starts with connection. The quote I love the most out of any quote in the whole world is "all ships rise in a high tide."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And once you get that, and you're like, actually, if you use that for every decision and every interaction, where it's not about, oh, but he's a coach. If I have that person on my podcast and their message is they portray it better than me, people might go to them. Like, the moment you start thinking that way, nothing good happens.
No. Well, it'll just all slow down and you're not being authentic then.
Mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks again.